What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tiger T. I'm Tyler, and today I'm going to be doing a video from the mysterious Mr. Enter. Um, just kind of stumbled across them. They do this series, apparently called Animated Atrocities. Um, from what I can tell, I haven't seen any of it, but from what I can glean, it's stuff that they maybe don't like certain episodes or certain movies or certain parts from episodes or movies that they don't like. And I imagine they're just going to talk about why they don't like it, why it's ridiculous. And so the first one I wanted to try, and if we like it, we can always do more, is Things Change from the Teen Titans, which is an episode from the Teen Titans. Not only is it an episode, it is the finale of the entire Teen Titans show. That is the episode where it's basically after like everything for the most part. It almost feels like an epilogue. You know, I've talked about this before actually. Back on Cartoon Season, a show I used to do, don't really do it anymore. I covered the Teen Titans, and I obviously covered the series finale and why I didn't really like it. I think they could have ended it better. It very much feels like them being like, hey, here's a setup for a next season, and then never another season didn't happen. And so it's strange to me that that episode exists, because to me it only exists as a setup for another season. Like it adds a couple like very unnecessary cliffhangers. So much to see what the mysterious Mr. Enter has to say. Let's see. God, what a theme song.
I would like to thank Alyssa Swain for both her generosity and her patience. She not only paid for the Patreon reward of me doing this review on this specific episode, but she was willing to wait for far longer than she should have had to. And I would also like to apologize to the rest of my patrons for taking so long to get around to these specifically requested reviews. It has been taking a lot longer than I planned for it to take. For reference, Alyssa specifically wanted me to do an Animated Atrocities episode on Things Change from the original Teen Titans series. This was the finale of the original Teen Titans, unless you want to count the movie Trouble in Tokyo, which
Sure.
I don't really. And I do want to reiterate, while my patrons...
The movie just feels so separated.
It doesn't determine what I think of it. This is an Animated Atrocity review specifically because I do not like this episode. Even though I watched Teen Titans as a kid a lot, I think I fell out of the show as it got into later seasons, as I was apt to do with many shows at the time. When shows started doing ongoing arcs and you were a kid in a family that couldn't afford DVDs and had no access to a DVR or even blank VHSs, if you missed an important episode in an ongoing arc and didn't manage to catch a rerun before the next episode, congratulations! You're lost information.
That's true.
This is why I was never into anime as a kid, because this kept happening. It was hard for me to watch that one new airing every single week. I tried to watch every single episode, but sooner or later, I'd miss one. I thought that One Piece was a show about pirates, but all of a sudden, they're on a cloud island with a bunch of characters that I have no idea who the hell they are. However, this episode...
Also, stuff would air out of order, though, too.
I actually did originally watch this episode when I was a kid. I distinctly remember that I did. However, I didn't dislike it at the time. That's because I didn't know that Things Change was the finale of the show, and I don't know how anyone else could gauge that fact unless they specifically looked into it. Let me explain what happens in the episode. The main plot is that Beast Boy finds Terra, someone who was essentially previously thought to be dead. However, she was a typical high school girl in this episode, who even had some friends. But she had no memories of her powers at all, or her relationship with Beast Boy, who goes a little bit far in attempting to trigger these memories.
Yeah,
There's
a little.
story, but going even the slightest bit deeper starts showcasing the problems, and this is an episode that cracks very easily. There's a subplot where the other Titans...
And the subplot doesn't matter.
...into any substance that it touches, and this is largely why I thought this episode was just another episode of Teen Titans. How do you make sure that the audience knows that this is the final episode of the show? I don't know, regulate 4 of your 5 main characters to a background role.
Yeah.
Their plot is essentially fighting this monster. That's all they do
That's
in the episode.
all it is.
This monster, who is never given a name, by the way, has all of the hallmarks of a generic Teen Titans
So
monster,
generic.
fighting in your typical B episode, not a finale. Its powers are cool, I will give it that, but it's nothing more than your generic monster that wants destruction. We've seen it before. After Trigon, that's not going to be impressive to anyone. However, the biggest issue with this episode, the one that everyone has with it, is that it resolves absolutely nothing. So you bring back this character who is presumed to be dead, with absolutely no memory of her adventures or even her powers. There's a Slade robot somewhere in the middle of the episode, because why not?
Yeah, it's just
All
random.
This would be an interesting mystery, and I'm sure that you'd like to know how it gets resolved. Well, Teen Titans fans are still waiting for the answer to this day. Let me put it this way.
Years
Imagine
later.
The final episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender was Sozin's Comet, Part 1. Imagine
Oh,
if the other
no.
parts just didn't exist.
Oh,
and
no.
Part 1 was how the series ended. Because by all accounts, by any way you paint it, this episode is a part 1. The other Teen Titans don't even end up defeating the monster that they're fighting. The series just ends with them going after this thing. There's no resolution. And after you follow these characters for 5 seasons, there's no way that this isn't going to leave a sour taste in people's mouths. Especially because, as I said, 4 of the 5 of them don't really get to do
anything.
The entire episode. I think the episode is trying to be thematic. There are a lot of slower scenes and cinematography that's reminiscent of the deeper episodes like How Long Is Forever.
God, great episode.
Things change, and that's the theme that keeps getting drilled in. The episode starts with the Teen Titans finding their old favorite shopping center getting torn down, because time only moves in one direction. And Tara, well, she has changed. She doesn't remember anything. Hell, she doesn't even call herself Tara. We never actually find out what her new name is either, because the last thing
I guess we
do
don't.
in a finale is answer questions that you've established. But with the Teen Titans fighting a very typical monster and a Slade robot, well, I guess some things change and some things don't, right? I can't overstate how much the B-plot of this episode annoys me. It's probably why the whole thing is so terrible.
It's just worthless. Like, there's no point.
Need some answers. Not just for the whole series, like what a finale is expected to answer, but questions that the episode itself raises. Instead of actually trying to answer any of those questions, we spend time with the other 4 Titans fighting a monster and distracting from the main plot. When another character is busy dealing with a heavy-duty mystery like Red X, the show made sure that the other Titans fighting the bad guy had something to do with the A-plot. Everything about fighting the shape-shifting creature is just a waste of screen time. I mean,
waste of screen time, yeah.
Abandoning a search for answers to go fight this creature. At least that's what the ending implied, and it would have made sense if, it was a Robin plot and we hadn't already had several Robin plots just like this. It might have even given us some kind of closure if, Beast Boy rejoining the team and actually being the creature happened on screen, but not even that happened. So I can only really assume that the Teen Titans are still fighting this creature over a decade later. This time could have been better used by, I don't know, questioning Tara's friends and their memories. They apparently know her and have known her for a while. Tara says that she has a home. I'm surprised Beast Boy never tried to check that out. People can't just appear out
That's a good point.
They leave a trail of records whether they want to or not. It's a mystery where the Gumshoe ignored all the clues to act on raw emotions and never solved the case. And the book ends 3 chapters early. You could have at least told us where the Slade robot came from. This was his only appearance in all of Season 5. What the hell was this? Some kind of shoehorned in fan service shit?
Yeah, it does feel like that.
Slade in it. Even if you had to shit the bed to put him in with no explanation. I mean, Slade's only purpose is to tell Beast Boy that he's kind of hurting Tara in her decision to live a normal life. At least, that's what I can gather. And yeah, Beast Boy was acting like a bit of an obsessive dick in this episode.
He was, yeah, he was a little unlikable.
It's confusing why he didn't track her down to where she lived. Towards the end, Tara says something that makes it seem like that she really is the real Tara.
Yeah.
She says,
"The girl you want me to be is just a memory."
Here's a tip. If you do want to leave a mystery vague and open, the one thing that you absolutely should not do is present directly conflicting information. It just comes across as insulting and inconsistent. Through Tara's mannerisms and, her whole life and her circle of friends, it's fairly clear to the audience that this is not the original Tara. At least not without the episode being very inconsistent. If this was the true Tara who wanted to live a normal life, you think that she'd be a little bit more direct with Beast Boy. After all, that would probably mitigate Beast Boy's obsessiveness.
That's true, yeah, if she just came out and was like, hey.
Some people thought that this Tara was just a figment of Beast Boy's imagination, like this was reminiscent of the Mask. After all, none of the other Titans saw Tara. However, other characters did see Tara.
Yeah.
Her school friends. So it's very unlikely that that's the answer. The only theories I want are ones about why anyone thought that this was a good episode, even ignoring the fact that it came after the end. By all accounts, this is a part 1 of at least a 2-parter. Nothing is resolved. In fact, the opposite happens. New plot points are put into motion. It's not ending, by definition. It's not feel like here we go again, or the adventure always continues.
Yeah.
It feels like they tried to make a medium between the two at times, but it ended up just leaving things dissatisfying. If you want my theory about what this episode means, this episode was a ploy to get a 6th season.
Oh yeah,
They'll try to
100%.
do the most open-ended ending ever, and make a mystery with 0 answers, and we'll only be able to finish it off if you give us that final season, which backfired when they did not get that 6th season. I mean, it's just as valid as any of the other theories about this episode, because the door is just left that open. Pardon me if I'm old-fashioned, but I firmly believe that a job of a resolution is to resolve things. Alright, what's the next Patreon review? Madoka Magica. Huh, never heard of it. It looks like some cutesy magical girl thing. It actually seems like quite the pleasant experience.
Yeah, it's not true. I haven't seen this and I know it's not true. We're just watching Madoka now. Okay. Alright. Okay. Yeah. So pretty much touched on a lot of the stuff I tried to touch on before the video started. That is kind of my problem with it as well, where it's like that is what they were doing. Like I don't know if they've come out and said it, but that's clearly what they were doing. They were just trying to get a 6th season. You know, I think there was talks at the time. I think I remember, like, I went back and did some research or whatever. You know, I think at the time they didn't know if they were getting a 6th season or not. And I think there was talks of them, you know, possibly getting one. But then when they didn't, it's like, ooh, that hurts, you know? Because again, like the episodes before that one were like the end, right? I think that's what it was called or something. Or maybe not. It was like Calling All Titans and then something else and whatever. And it's like, yeah, because I mean, I guess I was going to say spoilers, but this video is literally about the series finale, so you've already been spoiled. I think there was like 3 episodes before this one. It was like a 3-part finale before this one, and it was literally like all of the villains that we've seen up until that point, and even some that we haven't. We're building like this super ultra team to just destroy the earth, I guess. I don't know. And so then what did the Teen Titans do? Well, they grabbed all the Teen Titans, and then they grabbed every single powered teen that could now be an honorary Teen Titan. And so it was like 100 good guys versus 100 bad guys. That was the plot of the last few episodes before this one. And they had a big battle. It was nice, you know. It was kind of what you'd expect, you know what I mean? I've always gone back and I've said that, because this is season 5. Season 5 is the last season. I've always liked the season 4 finale more. I'm not saying they should have ended it there, but I'm just saying that the season 4 finale was surrounded, was surrounding Raven and Trigon, and that whole thing was slayed and interweaved and stuff. So I always really like that more. I mean, Raven was always my favorite character, so I guess I like that more rather than the bigger, kind of more stereotypical ending, more so following Beast Boy. But that was like an ending to a show. And then they have this episode, and it's like exactly what Mysterious Mr. Enter said, where he was like, there's an A plot and a B plot. The B plot makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't matter in the slightest. It's just, again, Robin, Raven, Cyborg, Starfire, them all just fighting this random villain who doesn't have an origin, right? We don't really see where he comes from. He doesn't speak. He doesn't have a name. We don't know what his deal is other than he's just destroying stuff. Like there's no motivation there. It's just, you know, like Teen Titans in the simplest form is just Teen Titans fighting a bad guy. You know, bad guy usually doing some bad guy things. But this is like the most boiled down, watered down fight in the entire series. Like every other fight that happens, it kind of makes sense and you kind of care about it at least a little bit. You know, even if you know that it's filler, you know that it's leading towards something. With this, it's just like again, like, you know, Mr. Enter said, like, oh, his powers are cool. I'm like, yeah, his powers are pretty cool. They kind of remind me of Kevin's powers from Ben 10. How Kevin can like absorb the power of something else, or like he can even put his hand on like a steel beam, and now his body is steel basically. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Especially in Ben 10 where he does it to like sap the powers from Ben 10, like the Omnitrix. That's really cool. I might have to watch Ben 10 again. But other than that, like, why do we care about this fight? Like, there's no motivation whatsoever. The character doesn't speak. We don't know his name. We don't know where he came from. Why does B plot matter? Just give the whole episode this, or something. Like, maybe the other team finds Slade. Like, maybe there's some connection to Slade, and so like the first third of the B plot is them finding this monster, and you're like, okay, cool, where's this going? And the other 2/3 of the B plot are them being like, wait, there's like Slade's mask under the beast's face or something, or like something. It's like, oh, so that's kind of a mystery, right? But that doesn't go anywhere. And then even like he said, they didn't even beat the monster in the episode. So like, what? And then the A plot, it's like seeing Tara again, but her not being Tara, but then her kind of being Tara at the end. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then him seeing Slade is like, okay, but that doesn't really get resolved. He just defeats the Slade bot. And so we're assuming Slade and Tara still have some sort of connection there. He knows about Tara being that. It's like, okay. But, like Mr. Enter said, nothing gets resolved in this episode. The 4 Titans don't beat the random shape-shifting villain. Beast Boy destroys the Slade robot. And we're like, okay, is there anything else? Is Slade here? Is he not alive? Like, he came back alive the one time. I guess he could do it again. Strange. And like the Slade bot also has knowledge of current events. So like, where's he getting that information from? Like, Slade has to be alive in some form or fashion. Never get a resolution to that. And then Tara. It's like, is this Tara? Is this not Tara? If it isn't Tara, who is it? Like, I know like in the real world there are like, twins out there where like there could be someone out there in the world in a completely different part of the world that looks exactly like you, sounds exactly like you. It's possible. But like, so then who is this Tara girl? And if it's not Tara, it's like, it just makes Beast Boy look even worse. It's like he's chasing this girl that also crazy coincidence too, for it to look just like her and it be exactly in the same city. And then if it is Tara, it's like, okay, that's cool because we know that Tara kind of resented her powers. So her wanting to be normal makes sense. But even then, like, Tara's character doesn't make sense, because I feel like if Tara wanted to just subdue Beast Boy, she would say, hey, it's me, but I can't be with you. You know what I mean? Because it's happened before where like Tara left, and Beast Boy didn't chase her. She left, so it's like this could happen here as well, but it doesn't make any sense, dude. I just, so sad. But yeah. Let me know what you thought of this animated Atrocities. Maybe I should check out more. Let me know what other stuff you want me to react to in general. And until next time, make sure to watch more cartoons.